the radio is actually picking us up this morning, as I have something on, but it's not coming through. So I just want to make sure. 297-1027. Let's see if. Good morning, caller. Welcome.
Hi, can you hear me?
On the air.
He is so hard to shop for.
Can you hear me?
Last year we got him that tie, which he doesn't
Yes,
wear.
I can hear you.
It has to be practical, so he'll use it.
What about a gift card? I saw some at
turn your
the other day.
turn your radio down.
It's down. It's down. I'm sorry.
I got it now. I got some ears on in here.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Okay.
I appreciate you validating that we are on.
Yes. I heard.
Thank you very much.
I didn't hear you right
and have
away
a blessed
when you
day.
first came on. Yes.
And yes, we are on to the sounds of hindsight in the background, and I'm glad. Good morning, caller. Welcome. You're on the air. Good morning, caller.
Yes, you're coming on to me.
I can hear you in the background.
By the way, no, it's not mad.
Welcome. You're on the air.
And Kim Swoon, I wanted to come and say something about what I experienced this weekend before you get going with your show this morning.
Oh, good morning, madam. How are you?
I'm doing very well, but I just had to call because I had some appointments, so I said, let me call you before I leave. I had the best myself, Mrs. Cindy Swan and Mrs. Maxine Esdale. We had the best time, I mean, I'm speaking for me now, ever at our world-renowned beach, Horseshoe Bay, this past weekend. It was a wonderful experience. We're 4 hours there. I mean, and just the experience just of going to the beach. Up there, you were immediately greeted by a team member when you got to the concession stand. They directed you where you were going to sit, the umbrellas that you desired or whatever, and they were all on point. And they had their walkie-talkies, you know. It was just a wonderful experience. If anyone needs to go up to Horseshoe Bay, you will be treated like royalty. And, you know, I had the opportunity to share, you know, just my experience there. Well, they told me to share the experience. And then I didn't know that visitors right next door were listening. So when they were leaving to go back to the ship, the lady said, Miss Ma'am, your interview with that young person who interviewed you about your experience here was excellent because we feel the same way about this beach.
Thank you ever so much for calling in this morning, and we appreciate you. And because we see you all over social media, and you don't let any grass grow underneath your feet at all.
No, but I wanted to thank actually who's Talani, Mr. Bulford, and his team. I remember there was David, there was Dayton, and I'm trying to remember the name. They were just excellent. It was just so wonderful. It was just to be in God's creation. To sit and look up at I could see a little bit, look up at the clouds and the sky, and then to hear the water, just the waves just coming in. It was just wonderful.
Thank you ever so much for starting off our show. And were we coming through loud and clear at your end on your radio?
I'm the one that called in and told you it was coming in loud and clear. That was me.
Well, thank you very, very much. We appreciate you for doing that, and you have a blessed day.
You too now. Okay. All righty. Okay.
And we thank that caller for getting us started this morning, for validating that we were, in fact, on the air. And in fact, my headphones weren't actually registering as well. And but they're doing well now, and I can hear. And I'm joined in studio this morning. Please introduce yourself, young lady.
Hi, Hi, my name is Amaya Peets.
And what are you doing here at Inter-Island Communications this summer?
So I'm a marketing intern here at Inter-Island Communications. I'm, I guess, working alongside with the youth employment program, and this is where they had placed me.
Wonderful. And I want to share with you that listeners out there that this is an unscheduled, unrehearsed. This young lady came and opened the door for me this morning and introduced herself and said she's in marketing. But do you know, Bermuda, to know that we have a young intern on the studio, on air this morning on Tourism in Focus, and I believe in speaking things positively into existence. We could very well be listening and speaking to the person responsible for marketing Bermuda in the future. What do you say about that, young lady?
Oh, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and where is your studies taking you at this particular time?
So I'm doing a BA in art and a minor in marketing, and I attend Southern Adventist University in Collegedale, Tennessee, and I'm actually going into my senior year. And yeah,
an all-important year for graduation soon.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful. And do you plan to go in the workplace first, or are you going to pursue a master's immediately?
I haven't really thought about masters. My mom's like, hey, if you do, let us know.
Yeah.
I'm still not sure about that. It will be nice maybe one day. Right now, I probably will try and get into the workforce.
Okay, good. And what has been the experience this summer since you've been here at the studio and experiencing some things in a work environment?
It's been interesting. I'm glad to have something I can be doing during the summer instead of just lazing around until the next time. It's been nice. Everyone here is really nice, and all the hosts that I've been able to talk with and interact with, and Mr. Blakeney is actually my cousin, so that's also nice familial there as well. So I've been working behind the scenes, taking pictures and video of the host on air, like Faria and Nikita, as well as their guests, and taking videos like during the segments to then post or have be posted on their Facebook account. And as an artist, once they realized I was an artist, or mainly an artist, to create some flyers or little welcome cards and stuff like that.
So I'm here to tell you now that the interviewer usually is now being interviewed. Mm-hmm. And the person who is usually responsible for making sure that they're capturing people on video is now on social media live on Facebook Live. We welcome you all, you viewers out there. This young lady, an intern here at Inter-Island Communication, here on Tourism in Focus this morning, preparing Bermuda for the future also involves preparing the youth of our country in relevant spaces. And I've always been one, and recently I've been in the primary schools mentoring young people, because I remember at 10 and 11 I had an idea what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be. I knew I was going to be a professional athlete. I thought I was going to be a professional footballer. I thought I was going to be the goalkeeper for Chelsea, whose home was in Knightsbridge. At 22 years old, I was a professional athlete. The headquarters of the professional sport that I was operating in was in Knightsbridge, and they moved to Wentworth in Surrey, but it wasn't football. It was golf. God had a different plan. So I just want to say, Ms. Peets, welcome to Tourism in Focus.
Thank you.
And all the best to you in what you're doing. If you had to tell the young people of this country and the older ones of this country, if you had to send a message to them today, what would be that message? And it could be two messages, one for the younger and one for the older. I'm putting you on the spot, as I've already done, and you're up to the challenge. I will say this.
Let's see. Well, to keep doing what you're doing, push towards the mark, and just keep God as your focus, I'd say.
Amen to that. Well, you've been listening this morning tuned in already to Tourism in Focus. I'm Kim Sworn, your Wednesday morning host, and I'm glad to be back on air with you. I appreciate your indulgence. I send a shout out to Mr. Blakeney and the Inter-Island Communications family. You heard a few rebroadcasts over the last couple of weeks as I was plying my trade internationally, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. I just want to say thank you to our intern who took up the challenge and was put on the spot, and I think she's done a marvelous job as well, and I wish her all the best, and I see nothing but great things in the future for you.
Thank you.
And yeah, and to you out there this morning, welcome. I always like to recognize all of you out there who worked in the hospitality industry in your life. It's because of you and because of your efforts that we have a foundation to launch our country off. And in my trade, I believe the glass is half full, and we build on that. You build on positives, you know. You focus on the fundamentals that you do right and need to do right, and correct the ones and get better at the ones that might be falling below the mark. And whether or not that be with what you're doing or what you're teaching people to do. Teach them to just be as humble as I've experienced this morning. Very humble young intern here in studio. And I want to say good morning to Ms. Esme Williams out there, who took the time out to share her experience up there at Horseshoe Bay. A wonderful experience. Sometimes you got to share the good things that are happening out there in life to let people know that there's a lot of joy in good things. Good morning, caller. Welcome. You're on the air.
Wow, you've been out there plying your trade.
I've been out there plying my trade and enjoying it. You know, I'll share this with you, my friend. Before I turn it over to you, if you find a career that you love, you're not working. If you find a career that you love, you're really not working. You're just carrying out a labor of love.
There you go. My father said, if you don't wake up and enjoy what you do, you might as well stay asleep.
Might as well stay asleep. How you doing this morning, my friend?
I am doing fairly well. It's good to have you back. I have a few things on my mind this morning that you can help me with.
Well, I hope I can help you. I'll try my best. The best I can do is listen.
Well, Mr. Swan, if you can help me, I have to find somewhere else to go.
All right. Well, if I can help you, I'll try to help you find that somewhere to go. How's that?
That's good. Okay. Now, before I get started, I have to send my condolences to the former Premier, Mr. Swan. You know, he helped me when I was in Hotel College, Bermuda Hotel College.
Okay.
I give you the story about that a little later. But the thing on my mind, Mr. Swan, is one, tourists.
Yes.
When they come to Bermuda, they go to the beach.
Yes.
So if they take off anything more than a toe, we are now arresting them and put them before the courts. That is counterintuitive to what we're trying to do in tourism, Mr. Swan.
You know,
don't you agree?
We need to. There are laws that we need to revisit, and sometimes it takes certain circumstances to bring that to the fore. And I don't disagree with you that sometimes there are contradictory policies and practices that can run afoul of what you're trying to achieve. Yeah,
that's correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, my second one is the former lieutenant.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading in the RG that it's going to be, or considering to be zoned for housing. So we do not have no zoned property other than the former Sanasta Beach property for hotel use and hotel use only.
I think you got that a little bit incorrect. I believe the article related to the owner wishing to do that, putting that forward. I don't think that is the policy that's being implemented. I think that was an article that quoted the what the owner. I think the owner has owned the property for over 20 years, and for whatever reason hasn't. So now let me declare my interest. I'm a White Hill boy. Grew up in Somerset Bridge. My grandpa had boats in Scour, and my family, the Anderson family, lived on that property before it was a hotel. So let me just. I mean, there are a lot of hotel properties in Bermuda. It's just ironic. My family actually lived on those properties, Princess, and a lot of other communities. So I just had to declare my interest there. I have some sentimental value there. So I think that needed to be put in context. That wasn't something coming from government. That article pertained to something that the owner was hoping to achieve.
So that was on the owner and not
right. Yes.
on the government per se.
Right. Correct.
Okay, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. People share what I mean. Somebody wants to say, "Hey, Swanee, what are you doing down there with the St. George's Cup match team?" And I come out and say, "Well, I'm looking to win the cup, and I'm looking to get a new Adrian King coming up from the islands." Well, that's something I'm looking forward to in the future. But whether or not it materializes depends on other things. So that was someone in a position hoping to share with persons what their aspirations are in that regard.
Last thing with you this morning, Mr. Swan, is this: does the BTA do a postmortem on the carnival festivities that took place over the weekend? I mean, it's early, but do they normally do one?
The BTA would do an analysis, particularly an economic analysis, especially on events that they economically, financially participate in. And I'm sure Carnival is one that has received some type of financial or expertise, intellectual expertise connected with the BTA. So the answer would be yes, they would be doing some sort of overview and recap on their involvement in it, as they would also do for CLGP, the golf, and other events where they are involved in.
Okay, good. Because I will be interested to see what type of numbers that carnival generated. Now, would that be? Can I go to the statistics department and get something like that?
Statistics will produce in their time, and it's pretty timely. What the involvement would be during those particular weeks. I'm going to say this, right? I came back last Wednesday afternoon, right? And I spoke in the House of Assembly, but wasn't able to get back in time to be here last week, right? Because it was in the afternoon. And if there were 5 of us that were Bermudian on that flight, that was it. That flight was full. I was sitting there saying, "Wow, I wonder if they were going to." There was a person on standby at there. My wife looked at me and said, "Well, if you see 4 or 5 people on standby, I mean, it's only right and fitting that a Bermudian give up for a visitor."
Yes.
It was families coming for a Coral Beach wedding that my wife was engaged talking to. There were persons on that plane that I didn't get to speak to, but if they had on a carnival outfit, I sure say their hair and everything was in place to go there without profiling anybody. Yeah, the flight was full with visitors, and that's a good thing. And that is a good thing.
But that means this is where that balance is now, if I'm hearing you correctly, is taking place between your cruise ship and your land business.
Well, but we still have space for land because, we still need that air capacity. I mean, with the air capacity that we had, I saw the good thing of them coming in with folks destined for hotels. And I've seen a lot of visitors. And the other barometer that I use is whether or not I go somewhere and people are giving you back U.S. dollars and change, and I see a bit of that. I go to places like Mamma Mia's and places like that would and see visitors there. Munches. I go down Munches. I see visitors stopping there, and because visitors also like to eat where locals eat, because for two reasons. Sometimes they know the food is tried and tested, and the other reason is they think the prices would be a little bit less tourist oriented. But Bermuda's the one place in the world where locals pay the same price as visitors. That's a story for another show.
My last one, then I'm going to let you go and I'll listen over. How is the airlift coming into the island? Now, are we have any new airlines that's on the horizon? And are we got any new airlines interested in flying to Bermuda? Because before I mentioned to you about the low budget airlines. And I see a couple of months ago, one of them went out of business.
Yeah.
So.
And one that you would think wouldn't go out of business too.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, I was very surprised, but it's a very difficult market. You see Bermuda Air having to navigate by connecting up with Anguilla, connecting up with Cayman, trying to find a way to stay alive.
That's true.
And I don't fault them for that, and I glory in their spirit for finding other examples of people that have the same challenge as us. And it's ironic that they're doing that with countries, and sometimes when you go away, you could see the island from 30,000 feet. You can look down from above and see it. I often think, we used to have we had British Airways coming in to Bermuda. We have British Airways coming in to probably Cayman and other areas. But you would have thought that if Bermuda being a colony of and we are a colony of Britain, that if in the best interest of those colonists, that airline could have been interconnected. Remember when I first went overseas to represent Bermuda in politics was in 1983. I went to Jamaica, and we stopped in Bahamas, and we stopped in Kingston, right? And I had gone to school just before that, and I could have, if I wanted to, gone to Bahamas and then taken a short trip over to Bermuda if we knew how closely connected culturally and family-wise we were in the Bahamas.
Well, that's true. That was something that I said last night on the with Commonwealth Secure, about how we I went to the Heritage thing because, the show last night was debating the carnival situation. So some people for, some people against, some people indifferent. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But the last thing I want to talk to you about was Elbow Beach. Do they have a firm date as to when they're coming online and opening up a hotel?
Okay, I'll finish off on your other question without naming anything specifically. and I'll find out if I can, and if I can, I will. If I can't, I'll find somebody who might be prepared to do so when they can. And that, yes, Bermuda is looking at other airlines very seriously as well. That's the answer. That we talked a little bit about Bermuda Air and its Caribbean connections, and how the overseas territories connected with the motherland. If we were interested in staying connected with our family ties, be it in Turks and Caicos, be it in Bahamas. One of my sides of my family is a Rattray. The Rattrays came to Bermuda from Bahamas in 1799. Charles Roque Rattray, right? And not too dissimilar of the Butterfields and the Swans down in Turks and Caicos. They came to Turks and Caicos from Bermuda, right? And St. Kitts, families came up from St. Kitts, BVI, and the like. It's so interconnected. The more we're divided, the more we don't understand, and more ignorant we become about how close we are in kinship.
Right.
But as far as the Alba Beach question is concerned, I will endeavor to see what more I can find out in that space.
Okay, now I'm going to finish on this because I'm took up a fair amount of your time. Bermuda Air, does Bermuda Tourism Authority give them a stipend of any sort? Because that Bermuda Air right now is the best marketing tool that we have in our toolbox. Because when you land Bermuda Air, wherever airport it goes into, the hundreds of thousands of people in that airport that sees just Bermuda alone versus trying to do a marketing. I should have asked Miss Peach just now. Using what I was going to say, either print or media, when you have an airline parked right outside your door, right there, it says Bermuda Air. Where is Bermuda Air coming from, and where is it going? That is self-explanatory.
I believe that there are things that are being done, but there is certainly, and this is my personal opinion, what you just shared, more can be done in that marketing of that name and the branding of it. I think the space for us to watch, is parked on our doorstep every day as well, is Anguilla Air. Because, the Anguilla Air spends a lot of time at our airport.
Airport, yes.
Now, I believe there's some interchanging during seasons with that carrier and Bermuda. So the winter season in the Caribbean tends to be their high season, and the summer season, I guess they have they're trying to make themselves year round as well, and so they can pull and move around those aircrafts and with their scheduling. From my logistics mindset that I have from my trade, if we can have those schedules linked up, so a person can actually find a way of being in Raleigh when Raleigh is going down to the Caribbean. And different areas. Now, what you're saying is this: the space I said to watch Anguilla is that I see the colors on that Anguillan plane, on the tail and the like, and I saw the releases that took place when they upgraded their airport and started getting for the first time some airlift, and they've taken a more celebratory right across the bridge, right across the board. Look, we're now opening up to the world. I think the fact that we've been open to the world for a number of years, because a lot of people don't see. I saw, and when I came back to Bermuda in 1980, Eastern Airlines wasn't my national airline. Neither was British Airways. It was Pan Am. I was sponsored by Bermuda Properties, which was owned by the Tripp family, and they owned Pan Am and they owned Castle Harbor.
Yes.
And they had so much global influence that they could get U.S. Customs to pre-clear people and the flight leave at 7 o'clock. Remember that? The flight used to take off at 7, be in New York by 9. And we used to have that 24 that we used to have that little $99 flight where we can go up, have a day in New York, and be back in the evening time.
In the evening, yes, you're absolutely right.
Now that comes from relationships. That comes from high-level relationships. And when you have the CEO having an interest in Bermuda, and then you cultivate that relationship, or that relationship was cultivated over decades. Right? Mr. Tripp and his family had influence in the United States in very high places. I remember a Pennsylvania congressman, and as I was going through Pennsylvania the other day, I said, I wonder if that Pennsylvania congressman was actually Biden back then, was on the board of Bermuda Properties. And so you can get things done when you got people in the right places.
Well, you said it all works off connection.
Mm-hmm. And we did that, and we have done that very well.
That's right. We have stood the time quite well. Now, I'm going to get off the air right now, but I'm going to ask you this one. Does a company has a contract with the Bermuda Tourism Authority to do the marketing in Europe for Bermuda? And I'm going to listen to you first.
Okay,
Have a good one, buddy.
Thank you. Yes, there is a company that was recently engaged for that. Miss Scotland works for that company as well as one of their representatives to look after the Bermuda account. This is Kamika Scotland, and I'm trying to remember the name. I remember that she's connected with it, and you would know Miss Kamika Scotland from St. David's, who his husband's whose grandfather was a great cup match player, and husband and son actually, all St. George's are there. So yes, if the name comes to me, I will whistle and put it over the ear in a sec. But in the space of sports tourism, and I want to thank that caller for calling in regularly, for sharing his views, for asking questions, for encouraging debate on tourism, on the relevance of different things that take place. And, causing me to share some of my views, causing me to look into a few things like Elba Beach and the like, and where it's going, getting updates for you. That's important. One thing I want to share. Newport to Bermuda, 100 years. Wow. Sometimes you have to look at some of the really good things that were done in Bermuda to lay a foundation. I often say that the relationships that were established in Bermuda in key market areas, Newport, one of the 5 founding members of the United States Golf Association, came from the Country Club at Brookline, Newport Country Club, Shinnecock Hills in Long Island. Those are 3 or 5. Chicago Golf Club, Marion Golf Club in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. Now, when you look at establishing bedrock relationships that will stand the test of time, as my mentor, the late Harold Kirkpatrick, coal miner earned coal mines out of Kentucky, former commissioner of mines of Kentucky, Hall of Fame golfer for Kentucky Hall of Fame, horse racer, Oh, no, horse races. He used to share with me, blue chip. Put your money in blue chip stock. Bermuda established the Newport to Bermuda yacht race over 100 years ago. So that would be 1926. What was happening in 1926? Well, Mid-Ocean Club was just built. Riddles Bay Golf Club was just built. Belmont Golf Club was just built. St. George's Golf Course in Rose Hill was just built. Shore Hills Golf Club in Ferry Reach was just being built. Frascati Golf Course in Jenningsland was just being built across there from the aquarium. Connections with America. Grasslands and Fairylands Golf Course was being built with a pro coming from Vancouver. Riddles Bay, Belmont. I'm here to tell you that Bermuda was starting to move into the tourism realm. Mid-Ocean Club was just being built. Castle Harbor was just being built. And in the community with yachting, a race was established through those relationships that were established between Bermuda, those areas that continue on today, that bring into Bermuda millions of dollars every other year. That's a testament. Turn down your radio, please, to some forward thinking. I rank that as number one in sports tourism experience in Bermuda. I often herald Race Week up there with that now as something that has crossed the bridge in the week that has the worst weather, gets the most people who don't mind the worst weather. That's a genius as well. And there are other examples of things that we are doing year after year. Cup Match was established out of a need to celebrate our past, our families of the past who endured what none others would ever want to endure. We remember them. There is something in remembering what was bad and good and what you overcame in order to celebrate, to teach going forward. So I make no bones about celebrating Newport, celebrating Cup Match, celebrating Race Week, and celebrating other sports and cultural events that capture the essence of Bermuda, that can stand the test of time and not be just one-time wonders, not just an ad that evaporates, but an experience that educates, that illuminates, that makes people feel good about themselves as well. Good morning, caller. Welcome. You are on Tourism in Focus.
Yes, good morning, Cam.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Just fine. Quite a weekend of activities, and I want to say that the long distance comet race that was. I'm so glad that TNN was able to cover it, right? Because I realized Mr. Brumby wasn't on island, and I missed him and you doing the commentary as you done last year, but. That's a race that we cannot let die. I mean, it's a lot of activity going on, and I'm wondering if maybe we can adjust, some of these activities, because, we can't be everywhere at the same time. But that's a tradition that I think needs to be supported to the utmost. And
can I share something on that with you?
Sure.
The future of comet racing, and let me declare my interest first. I am a child born of comet racing. I went on that race when I was probably too young to be on the water, at least by my mother's determination. And my grandfather put me in his boat and took her little baby down in Tonkat in 1960. I was born in 57. She was, and to watch my cousin Gladwin Lambert sail his first race, and he sailed again and is around 75 now. I say that the future of comet racing lies in the development of youth in comet racing. The Byron McCallums of this world from St. David's, the Roddy Fogos of this world from St. George's and St. David's, the Alton Millets, the Stevie Dickinsons learned sailing from their mentors at very young age. We need to get, and through even Endeavor, the way Endeavor's going, we need to get more young people interested in sailing, because when you have if for every young person engaged in that race, you will have a family members in boats following them the way we used to follow our Gladwin when he was a young man sailing, to try to best his own father. And so I believe that the young people of today are doing something on the holiday that tickles their fancy. But when we have sufficient enough young people who are involved in sailing, the families and their younger peers will follow them as well. So there's room enough Bermuda for a great deal of things happening simultaneously, providing that we have the hotel beds to accommodate those who are visitors here at the same time. But there's certainly enough space for us to do both. And I hear the argument, why have something else when we're having this? But unless you have people sailing, that's why I go to the school and teach people where I went to school up in Southampton Glebe at primary school golf. Because unless you have youngsters involved in sport, you won't have them as adults loving the sport and bringing others along. So I agree with you about the comet race, but I think we've got to get more young people on the water sailing comet races. And I know there are people doing that as well, because I've seen some people promoting a youth sailing program through West End and East End as well.
Yeah, I like the fact that the three clubs having events with all clubs involved at the different venues. I think that's something I don't think it was always in place, but that's something that seems to be doing well.
They work together. They do work together more collaboratively. Yes.
Yes, and I do agree with you. We need more young people to get into these things. And like my favorite sport, cricket, right? It's not what it used to be. I mean, you remember we had the Shell supported
that was the Parish League.
Yes, and I never played in it, and I never played in the Eastern County Junior program, because the only time I was eligible to play was wasn't 16, but on the day that I was eligible to play, I went away with the St. Luke's Male Winds Choir, and St. David's was playing Bay for the very first game, and we flew over Bay, and I was torn between two what I wanted to do, but at that time I had to do what my parents told me. Go with the St. Luke's Male Winds Choir, But anyway, young people it's everything, whether it's sport, whether it's politics, whether it's whatever. They have got to get involved so that these great things don't die out.
And I'll say this as well, as one out there trying to do a little bit to encourage growth in an area, is that it requires mentorship from a family connection to help push it as well. I was invited this morning to go to something that I'll be working where a young person will be recognized through some awards that the Ministry of Youth are doing, right? And I had to congratulate her parent. I'm teaching this youngster golf. The youngster's good in cricket, football, running, high jump, everything, right? Just one of those old. But the parental involvement, where the parent would come and I said, no, stay and go and watch and let me show you how to mentor them when I'm not around and the like. And that is important. My coaching experience over the last 50 years has taught me that youngsters perform better when those closest to them are interested in what they're doing. I may not have understood that 50 years ago, but it's crystal clear to me today that that's the key. And if you look at the successful young athletes, the more look, I remember a couple of young athletes that came out of St. David's. Okay, I think you know a little bit about St. David's, and I remember the late Roseanne Pitcher, may she rest in peace, going down and taking it upon herself to have an after-school program, reaching across to St. George's to make sure that the golf pros over there, one of them came from St. David's, he could play a little cricket and golf too, Billy Joe, came over and shared our expertise with those children. And guess what? My captain of Bermuda and St. David's was a junior champion in golf. And I think you know who that young fella is. And if Lendra hadn't have died, he would have been probably a champion in golf too. Yeah. But it took a parent to take the community and bring a lot of them else along in the best interest of a community. And I see these young children who are doing well, going away in golf and in tennis and in swimming and different sports, and I see parents' involvement right alongside of them, and I think we need to get that word out there more. Those of us who have a voice, who have been involved, know the great involvement, and we can look in our communities. And we can name those people, the Mackie Simmonses from Whitehill, the Eugene Buck Woods. When we won Junior County in Bridge, it was a big thing in the late 60s, early 70s when we won Junior Counties over Rangers and Warwick and Willowcotts down at Bridge. We were getting a victory in county that the senior team hadn't gotten at that particular time. But it didn't take long after that. And we were winning the knockout because we had a St. David's Islander playing for us. Yeah. During a pitcher. Anyway, I just wanted to agree with you 1,000% on that. Yeah.
But anyway, Kim, welcome back. And just before I go, I want to let you know that we got two little youngsters. One is 9 and one's 6. Look out Somerset when they become of, I would say at 16. 16, they'll be in the team, and if we don't have it before then, we'll dominate once they get in there. Because in cricket today, if two guys have a good day, they make a difference in the team. Yeah. Because I tell you what, fitness is key. Yeah. These young people today are not fit. This sun kills them. Yeah. And playing 2 days of cricket, if you look at what's happened over the last couple of years. If one or two guys has a good game and does well, the sun breaks down the opposition. Yeah. I'll end on that, Cam, and like I say, welcome back, and it's great hearing you. Last thing I want to say, when you first came on, I tried to call in and let you know that we couldn't hear you because your background music was too loud.
Okay. Well, I had the background music on, but I couldn't hear it because my speaker wasn't allowing me to hear what was going on, and so I appreciate it. But I got that rectified and got my ears on.
Anthony got one ahead of me, but that's all right. Okay. She's paying attention. All right.
Okay. All right. Bye. Thank you. Good morning, caller. Welcome. You're on Tourism in Focus.
Hey, buddy. What's happening?
How you doing, my friend?
Pretty good, man. Interesting conversation this morning. I agree with you 100%. Comet racing is a sport. Most sports early stay alive and the youth participate. I would also like to add that one of the areas, at least that I've encouraged, is non-traditional comet racers to get involved and be a part of the sport. So you see the Smiths, the Friths, and others can join, you know. I think we need that race to evolve to a point where we see our very best out there competing in it. And the only way that could happen is all top sailors in Bermuda are invited to come and be a part of it. So that's my take on helping to further develop that particular sport with young people. Because we see a lot of the young sailors out here on the ocean sailing other types of boats. It's no reason why they can't be encouraged to sail different boats. Because we even talk about Stevie. I mean, he didn't sail one boat, although he was known for the Comet. He also sailed other boats internationally. And that's important in terms of developing to be the best you can be in sailing. And Brumby will attest to that.
Yeah. He's doing well in himself right now. He's worked on he's got his weight down, and although he could have been in a Comet, he might have helped help somebody with that weight on in a Comet on before that win. I was told that.
So one of the things that tends to happen to you when it's rough like that, the people that are getting international exposure, I mean, they tend to seem to handle that, especially when they're younger people. You know, so I felt that those two guys had an advantage. Being younger guys, so there's a little bit of controversy right now in terms of what the outcome's going to be, who the official winner may be.
Right.
But putting that aside, you know, like I said, they would have a clear advantage in rather. And Dan has proven time again. Matter of fact, one race he was the only finisher because it was so rough. You remember that year?
I do remember. We've had some very, very rough years. I remember we had when we have the international race here, and the guy from on the East Coast, Swickard or something like that is his name. He won one year when it was very rough as well. So we've had some international sailors and some of the top sailors from other clubs come and participate as well before.
The first year Ben won it, he capsized a number of times, but they were the only one. I guess with the energy to keep going, and then eventually that was his first win, because nobody else finished. That's the area. You can look at the record on that. I remember it well. Yeah. So I also heard you mention the events that have kept Bermuda going in tourism in our shoulder years. One of them being the International Race Weekend. I've always felt that the one person that should be given a lot of credit for the whole development of athletics, in particular track and field, and that particular weekend. And as a matter of fact, even to help you develop Carifta, was Randy Benjamin. I've always felt that he should have been honored as one of our national heroes because he brought the sport out of segregated time and negotiated with the World Athletics Governing Body to make the sport what it is today. So a little history for those who didn't realize that Randy Benjamin played a big part and internationally in the development of Carifta Games. Yeah, during the time CARICOM was home. Yeah, because that's what Carifta is, a celebration of CARICOM. You know, the games that they have, the junior games that they have. Okay, my man?
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you very much.
Hey, Talk to you later.
And we're about 5 minutes outside of the top of the hour, and we encourage you to call in, and we give you a minute each if you had something to share. We certainly enjoyed the interaction today. Appreciate the comments, the suggestions, and some of the questions that have been put forward to me here on our show. And it's always a blessing for me to be here talking about this important industry, the industry of relationships. Learning how to interact with people is enhanced and can be taught through being involved in the hospitality industry. And you can get better at it, and you can become a better person by trying to be better at it. I can attest to how being involved in the hospitality industry has certainly helped shape my life. I just want to give thanks this week as I celebrate 48 years since I won the Bermuda Open this week. 48 years ago, a 19-year-old won his national championship. A national championship that the associations responsible haven't seen necessary to hold. This week they'll have the Bermuda Amateur Championship, but there was a Bermuda Open Championship that was open to all persons, amateur and professional in Bermuda, to play to determine who their national champion was. In 1978, when I won that championship, it was the first year when that championship was open to international contestants. Little did I know that that same championship that I thought started in 1966 took place in the 1920s, took place in the 1940s, took a sabbatical for a number of years and was brought back in 1966. Little did I know that when I won that championship, that I won a championship that the former U.S. Open champion, Willie McFarland from Aberdeen, had also traveled to Bermuda as the U.S. Open champion in 1925 to participate in 1928 in an exhibition at Belmont and play in the championship at Riddles Bay. That type of history puts Bermuda as one of the forerunners in the game of golf, which we were. The USGA was founded in 1895. One of the founders used to hang out in Bermuda in 1895, ended up building the Mid-Ocean Club in 1920. Charles Blair MacDonald. Bermuda had 4 golf courses in the 1880s. They were military golf courses. Bermuda introduced tennis to America through Marietta Bridge. Bermuda was a leader in international racing with the formation of the Newport Bermuda Yacht Race. As I mentioned, Newport, Chicago, Shinnecock, Long Island, Marion in Philadelphia, the Brookline in Massachusetts were the charter members of the United States Golf Association, which probably was conceived over a dark and stormy, or if dark and stormies were around then, over some type of libation with former U.S. presidents in Bermuda, I'm sure. Now, that's just my take, but I'm sure a historian could verify things of that nature. Discussions like that would have taken place. And during that time, between 1920 and 1930, where the renaissance of sports tourism took off, prohibition was in existence in America. That's our show, folks. Lord willing, we'll be back with you next week on Tourism in Focus.
Bermuda Live on YouTube. Subscribe now.